Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Superhero Vegeta Superhero. Yes, I agree, they probably could have just left it at Dragon Ball Super and named the movie Hero, but they didn't. I didn't get to name it. Anyway, I was looking forward to this Vegeta because it looks pretty good. It looks like it's going to be a good replacement for those of you who are into like the Majin Vegeta look. It's not quite the same thing, obviously, but it's in the same style-ish. And it looked really good in the promo images, but it has a couple critical flaws, like things I haven't seen on an SH Figuarts figure to date. So it's a little bit strange. There are some good things though. We're going to talk about all of it, so let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands to the top of his head, let's say 5 1/8 inches, and that's going to be, including the hair and everything, closer to like 6 1/4. And that means he's going to be about 13 centimeters and then close to 16 centimeters. The hair does take up a lot of height. Okay, so there's definitely a lot to talk about as far as the aesthetic goes. But first we have to do a quick question of the day. Which look for Vegeta is your favorite? For me, it's the armored Super Saiyan look. No shoulder pads, gold hair, shoulderless pads, shoulder padless armor. That's my favorite look. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic. But first, we have to talk about the sponsor of today's video because they have a sale on their bundled graphic tees, which is Into the AM. They are the amazing t-shirt people, and they're having a sale going on right now. Can't recommend that enough. I tell you guys all the time I would buy them even at full price, and I would. They're wonderful, wonderful shirts. If you ever wanted to try them out now. Not only do they have a sale going on for the rest of the weekend, but they do have a whole bunch of new designs. This is one of them. I really like the whole, like, I don't know, cyberpunky space vibe combo. We have a bunch of cool colors on this one, some melting planets like that. Just all kinds of really unique designs. This one's very cartoon, comic, anime-esque. You know, they just have all kinds of stuff. A little bit of something for everyone. This is my style, but there's tons of other things. There's like hippie type stuff or skulls, you know, whatever you want. They have all kinds of different things, and not only graphic tees, but that is what I focus on because I think they're wonderful. They fit great. I get compliments on them all the time. Everybody likes them that I wear them in front of, and I love them. My wife loves them. Everybody loves them, so check them out. There is a link in the description below, so go check them out. Alright, now that that's all out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the aesthetic on this guy. I was happy at first, but then there are 3 things that drive me absolutely nuts. One of the things is articulation. The other 2 things are there's 4 things. There's 3 aesthetic things and 1 articulation thing. Okay, let's get the nuts things first. His arms are painted. Molded in white, apparently, and then they painted the forearms to match the rest of the arm. It doesn't match. It looks terrible. For an SH Figuarts figure, I have not seen this, or at least I can't remember it ever happening before. This looks horrible. This is Marvel Legends level of not matching. Usually they paint the white and match the skin tone in the PVC. That does not look good at all. That's egregious. The second thing I don't like about this release, which you could kind of ignore this if you don't mind, I don't like how shiny his shirt is. It's very shiny, it looks very cheap, there's no shading. The legs are nice and matte, so that's good, but the shirt is very shiny, and I don't think it's supposed to be. Obviously, I haven't seen the movie yet, but it looks very shiny and cheap, so I don't care for that. And then the last thing, which most of you are probably already thinking, it looks weird. It doesn't quite look like Vegeta normally looks, and there's a reason for it that I figured out after doing some researching and digging and comparing different things. His face is the wrong shape. It's very flat front to back. Look at the way his forehead sticks out up here. That's never how it's drawn. His face is drawn very much curved like this, so the nose is forward, the forehead slopes back a lot, and the chin is actually back a lot too. So it should be like curved much more this way from the profile. And then from the front, it's usually a lot wider than this, wider and shorter. So like the print work on there is really good, but it actually doesn't look like Vegeta. It looks like somebody who looks like Vegeta, kind of like that one Piccolo figure where it didn't really look like Piccolo. Like, yeah, we know it's him, but if there were 2 people that looked like Vegeta, this would be the second one and not Vegeta. So yeah, that's a big deal for me. Maybe you won't notice it with some of the faces in certain poses, but it's definitely the case. Look how far forward his forehead sticks. That's weird. With his head being as big as it is, sticking that far forward, it would be like the entire size of his hair underneath. That's nuts. They screwed that up. Okay, let's talk about the rest of it. Like I said, the legs are matte. That's pretty good. The skin is mostly matte. That's pretty good. The chest up here looks good. I can't tell. It looks painted. Yeah, actually they painted the blue part right in there, and the chest is actually molded in the plastic for the skin tone, so that's good. That's why that matches. The feet look okay. Nothing really special going on. There's no shading anywhere. The only paint work is obviously for the yellow and the soles. Actually, the soles might not even be painted, but it's for the arms. Like, it's just the corrective parts to paint the shirt and the arms right there. That's nuts. This feels really cheap. Like, it was a lower cost SH Figuarts figure, but it does not look, doesn't fit the standard for SH Figuarts. Maybe they're going too fast. Maybe people are buying them anyway, so they don't care. But these do not feel like they used to feel. They used to have a very high collector sort of quality to them, and these don't feel like that. And just wait till we get to the articulation, guys. It's not great. I also don't love the way they cut the chest the way they did. He has no chest, basically. It makes him look tiny. It makes his belly look big and his chest look small. The place they put the cut and the way they sculpted it for the butterfly joints, he has no chest. This Vegeta is incredibly underwhelming, not impressive at all from an aesthetic perspective. So, I'm not happy about it. For the aesthetic, I'm going to give this guy a 4 out of 10. There's way too much wrong with it. I'm amazed by how much there is wrong with this figure from Bandai Japan. Now, as far as accessories go, we get the 2 fist hands that come out in the package, we get the thumbs up hand, we get 2 sets of pose hands, and then another pose hand, but the wide open ones. So that's pretty much standard, no effect parts or anything like that. For the faces, we get the stern face that comes on them in the package, we get the smiling face, we get the angry face, and we get the yelling face. They're all painted really well, except they have different degrees of wide eyes. The one where he's kind of smirking, the eyes are super wide. The other ones get closer and closer as you go. I don't know. That's kind of weird, right? Like, his eyes should be in the same position no matter how he's looking. But they are painted well other than that. So I do like them, but that is a little bit strange. And that's it for accessories. For a basic release, I think that's fine. I'll go 8 out of 10, but definitely not higher than that because we don't get anything special for this guy. The hands we've all seen before, the faces are nicely done, and that's about it. Okay, so let's talk about the articulation. First things first, let's see what we have going on underneath the faceplate. It is a little tiny ball hinge, again, which means messing around with it until you get it just right, but having very limited range. So that's always a bummer, should be a double ball peg. There's very little range on that because of how high up and how surrounded it is. You can't really do much with it. You can get some posing done with it, not a ton. The neck is on a ball peg. It moves pretty well, but you do get that gap showing up at the collarbone. Not ideal, but it does pose. So I like that. Like, that gives him a much better look. If you look dead on, you can't quite tell that his forehead's weird, but anything from the side is gonna look not like Vegeta at all. It looks like Forehead Man. Okay, for the shoulders, the butterfly joint is a newer design-ish. It's still ugly as sin and doesn't really afford that much. Like, because of the way it's done, because of the way it swings in, and because of the shape of everything, you can't really get much done with it. So it's like, you butchered the sculpt for this? Ah, that kind of thing drives me nuts. A butterfly joint that doesn't work is like the worst thing ever because it kills the sculpt of the chest. And for what? Yeah, you can hide all of this once you pose him, but still it doesn't work. You get the ball peg that the arm moves around on top of the butterfly joint. You can raise the arms up almost horizontal, but still not because of the way it's done. Like, they engineered a whole new shoulder for this guy and it still doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is ridiculous. And that's not, we haven't even gotten to the bad part for the articulation. Actually, there's 2 bad parts. Oh man, this figure, the rating's going down as we go. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow is fine. Doesn't seem to have as much range as they normally do, but it'll be okay. Wrists are on little ball hinges. That is fine. Torso appears to be on the hinge ball peg combination. It's down right now. Leaning him forward, you get that much range. That is the max range going forward, and leaning him back, that is the max range leaning back. So not a ton. Better back than forward. It's not great. Make sure you don't leave him like that because he looks ridiculous. Push him back down. Leaning to the side is almost nothing. It's very, very minimal because of the combination of the 2 joints. It doesn't work well. Do a double ball peg, it works way better. The hinge joint is not necessary. It serves virtually zero purpose, and it's definitely not better than a double ball peg. You get minimal rotation up there as well. For the waist joint, you get your rotation out of that. The pants are part of the torso. The top of the pants is part of the torso, unless that's supposed to be like the shirt has elastic at the bottom, but it's the same color as the pants. It's weird to connect the pants to the torso, but they did, and that rotates. And then you do get to lean him forward and back on that a little bit, so that is helpful, but you're essentially just posing the hips at that point, so that's a little bit weird to me. And really, you don't want to pose him forward or pose him like that, because then his peeper is going to stick out funny, and you don't want that. So lean him back and bring that down, and that's much better. Okay, so we're about to get to one of the weirdest things I've ever seen them do. I'll tell you when we get there. Going out to the side, the hip range is terrible. It's less than 90 degrees. One of the worst ones we've seen for like a basic figure. Nothing crazy here going on. This isn't freaking Majin Buu or Dodoria. This is Vegeta, and his hip range is terrible. All right, now this is the one. Watch this. The forward range. That's it. It can't go any farther. It cannot go any farther because this piece right here, the part with the little chip taken out of it, it's not really a chip, it's a mold mark. That when that rotates forward, that hits the peeper piece. And the leg can't go any farther. These are both hard pieces of plastic. You can't do anything with it. That is as far forward as you can bring his legs. How? How does that happen? No range to the side, no range going forward. Does it go back? It goes back better than it goes forward, so I'll give them that, but this is one of the worst articulated figures we've seen from them, and it's one of the worst aesthetic figures we've seen from them. Thighs rotate, the thigh swivel is okay, double jointed knee works fine. And now the ankles. We have double ball peg ankles that are really long. The ball pegs are really long, and you can lean the foot back like that, but then you get that giant gap, which looks ridiculous. And if you leave it straight, it looks like the foot's not actually connected properly because of the gap. And if you want to bring it all the way forward, you can, but then the foot's actually underneath the ankle rather than forward. So it looks really goofy. It's a terrible ankle, and the ankle rocker has to look like that. It's gappy as hell and it doesn't work. But wait, there's more. Look at the ankles on this guy. This is a manufacturing, it was designed this way. It wasn't an error. See how this piece of plastic in here, the square piece of plastic that makes the hole, is in line with the knee so that it's straight for the foot? Look at this one. It's not even close. It's off at almost like, I don't know, 30-degree angle. So that foot is always at an angle. It cannot function properly. It cannot lean forward properly because it sticks out more on the sides where that square piece is. So it just can't go in. It cannot function properly with that angle like that. So, and that's not like a QC issue, that's just the way it was designed. So that's a huge bummer. Now on the ankles themselves, they did do a slightly better thing. Normally when you bring the toe forward, you get a big sharp piece sticking down. This time they rounded it off some. It still sticks down a little bit, and you get much less range. So the toe point is actually worse than normal. Even though it looks a little bit better, you get no range, and it still does have that extra bit there. So I don't know what happened with this guy. This is one of the ones from the China factory, by the way, not Vietnam. But QC isn't really a thing other than the paint issue for the arms. It's just a horribly designed figure by SH Figuarts standards. The articulation on this guy is one of the worst ones we've seen, if not the worst one we've seen, short of maybe Chatsu. So I'm going to give the articulation on this guy for SH Figuarts standards a 3 out of 10. It's bad. The shoulders don't work well, the head doesn't work well, the hips don't work well, the ankles don't work well. What's left to do? Hide all of those problems when you pose it and never touch it again? The torso doesn't work well either. This thing is such a bummer. I'm going to give it an overall rating of 5 out of 10. The faces are painted well, and that's about it. I mean, they look really good. The low price point is saving it. The face is in the low price point, but by SH Figuarts standards, this thing is easily one of the worst, if not the worst. For the time period, obviously, if you go back to like Super Saiyan 3 Goku, compared to today's standards, the first one looks like total butts. But at the time, it looked appropriate. This thing is a mess. I don't know. You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. If somebody says something interesting or funny or whatever, I'll pin the comment and we'll talk, but this thing is such a bummer. Bummer, bummer, bummer. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please do give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos every day but Wednesday, and thousands, over 4,000 videos already on the channel to make up that Wednesday void. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.